can't believe I've let this happen to me. I'm so sick. I'm such a burden to my family. I'm angry. I'm over it. I'm tired of being sick. I'm tired of being unwell. I'm tired of being in constant pain. Living with chronic disease is so challenging, and being angry seems to be a stage of the many stages of grief that we return to quite frequently when we are unwell. So I'm Janine, and I'd like to today talk to you about forgiveness. If you think for a moment about what being sick is, our body is made up of cells, it's made up of water, it's made up of space, and our control centre is our brain. So our brain sends instructions to our cells, as we all know. It tells our heart to keep beating, it tells our limbs when to move, our stomach when it's time to digest. Our brain controls our nervous system, and our nervous systems learn both positive and negative patterns. So in effect, with the trauma in our lives that could have contributed to our illness, we have kind of developed an acquired traumatic brain injury, if you like. So on that controversial note, when people say to you, your illness is all in your head, no, but it could be in your brain. A natural therapist, or as part of the Body Love method, you may be asked to draw up a timeline of when you first started to get ill. I had a natural therapist say to me, so think back to when you were first unwell, and I think it was, I had glandular fever or something. So she said, what happened to you in that time? And then I recalled a traumatic incident that was quite horrific. And I hadn't at that stage, obviously, so young, I was only 14, of attributing that reason to the illness. And then when she went on, so when did you next notice you started to get ill? And it was another traumatic event, and so on and so on. So when we start to talk about forgiveness, there's quite a few things here, but we need to think about, or we could, I'll never say need, we could think about those people that may have harmed us in the past, that's caused this trauma, and think about ourselves and how we often think about how we could have done things better. So we tend to get angry with ourselves, like, why did we allow this to happen to ourselves? Why do we do that? So if you think about in the brain, every time we relive that memory, we are cementing and telling the brain again why we need to be frightened, why we need to be in fear, why we need to be unwell. So we need to almost get back to, could almost go back to reframing that event and that way of thinking. So if I use an example, I had a very challenging relationship with my mother-in-law, which meant that when I think back throughout my entire married life, I was living in fear of her reactions, of her response. She was very controlling. But when I start to look back on what her life was like, I can sort of see why she was like she was. And I started to remember and think about the little 5-year-old that was looking for her dad, and she would find him in a hotel and she'd be looking under the doors, looking for his feet. So I started to understand why she was like she was. So I forgave her. I started to look and look at her with loving kindness and say, poor thing, no wonder you turned out, you were living in fear. So I started to think like that. So some of the tools that we use, and one of my favourite, which is the beautiful Ho'oponopono, which is the Hawaiian way of saying, I love you, I'm sorry, please forgive me, thank you. Now if you read Joe Vitale, he has got a brilliant little Hawaiian book about that Hawaiian philosophy and everything. And when we talk about forgiveness, one of the things that we tend to think about, yes, but what that person did to me, they should have been punished. They shouldn't be allowed to get away with it. We're not saying that they're getting away with it, because being angry at that person, sending that person so much venom and so much hatred is only hurting you. They're not feeling any different. One of the things, another one, a lovely saying came from Oprah was, we're giving up the hope that the past could be anything different. Like if I go back to the perpetrator that really, really started my illness journey, it doesn't matter what I do, there's no way I can change that past. There's no way that that's going to be any different. So I've got to forgive for myself. So I've got to forgive everything that happened for myself. Nothing's going to change. So doing that, I love you, I'm sorry, please forgive me, thank you, is just such a beautiful way of moving on. Absolutely moving on, and we're not reliving and re-cementing and going over and over and over what happened, to complete this little cells going, oh my god, life is scary. No, every human being, according to Sadhguru, every human being is capable of living absolutely blissfully within themselves. So this is the time to go through the forgiveness. So another way is journaling. Now I'm a chronic journaler. I've got dozens. I think you probably see behind me, there's that box there is full of journals, art journals, dream journals, meditation journals. I just get it all out, get it out of the head and down on paper, because that helps with the forgiveness as well. The other thing is writing letters. If you write a letter and you don't have to post it, just write it, just put it in there. Look, what you did to me was really painful, really hurt, but I forgive you. Whatever you were going through at the time, you may not have even been aware that you were doing it to me, whatever. There's meditation. There's some beautiful meditation on kindness and sending love and kindness. Like, don't engage in any conflict with people at the moment. Think about yourself. Think about your own health first, and say, no, I choose loving kindness and forgiveness for whatever's going on in your life right now that you feel that you have to put that anger onto me. I'm not going to take that on, but I forgive you for whatever you're going through. Another saying, and one I'm holding on to quite tightly, is don't allow anybody else, for whatever they do, to make you feel anything differently. Don't give them that power. This is your life, your journey, so don't give anyone else that power. So those ones quite real to me. I guess there was another one that I really love, as another little quote that said, the nature of life is such that if you allow it to flow, life is a beautiful experience, where if you hold on to the misery, it will become miserable. So that's another beautiful body love method, which is the allow versus achieving. And choose a gentle life when you're unwell. Choose a very gentle life. And that's all from me. Oh, no, one other thing. Please visit Emma Polette's Body Love website and go through the forgiveness little worksheet that she's got there. It's really helpful, and it'll help you on your journey. Thank you for listening. Namaste.